Folks, how are we doing? It's Maybach Egg, and welcome back to another Timeless video. Today, we're going to be playing a little Mardu Energy, classic Mardu Energy. I've been pretty focused on grinding the Arena Powered Cube because it's just so much fun, and because of that, I haven't quite hit Mythic yet in Timeless this month, so I figured this is a great opportunity to grind the ladder and to take a look at some of the changes that one of the flagship decks of the Timeless format has undergone since the release of Secrets of Strixhaven. So as a quick overview for folks who have never seen Mardu Energy before, this is an aggro Mardu shell that's leveraging cards like Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, flooding the board with creatures, tokens, Orcish Bowmaster tokens, Ajani tokens to eventually flip your Ajani over to the other side and start nuking your opponent in the face for huge amounts of damage due to your go wide board. And cards like Goblin Bombardment are super clutch in helping you throw enough damage face to close up the game. And you've got hand disruption like Juggernaut Peddler and a suite of different removal spells to pave the road for you. Now, what's the biggest thing that has changed since I last played this deck? Well, it looks like I think we've gone up on 2 Juggernaut Peddlers, so we're doing 4 main deck right now. Juggernaut Peddler is just such a wonderful card in many matchups, not just combo, but also difficult matchups like mono black, Eldrazi, mono red, where we're looking to get like a Fury or a One Ring or a 7 mana Eldrazi out of their hands before they can play it. And we've gone down to 2 Ragavans instead of 4. Ragavan obviously being a very strong card, but when you look at what our deck synergizes around, Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Ajani, it's kind of the odd guy out, as it accrues value with treasure tokens, but doesn't make creature tokens itself. The biggest change that's come to Mardu Energy since the release of Secrets of Strixhaven is an alternating plan between Strip Mine, the 4 of Strip Mine that we've run since the card debuted on Arena, and 4 copies of Library of Alexandria in the board. After some testing, folks have found out that Mardu Energy is actually quite good at a slower library game where you accrue card advantage using your library and sandbagging some of your bigger threats so that over time you're able to like flood the board even harder. So this obviously isn't a strategy you'd want to deploy in games where you want to play fast, but in more dirtily, control-y matchups or on the draw in the mirror, in certain blue tempo matchups, you're going to want to run a Library of Alexandria to like keep up with your opponent's card advantage or deploy more shitters to the field than your Mardu Energy opponent can. You're obviously going to keep the Strip Mines in against combo decks where it really matters to like sabotage their mana base, you know, your sneak and shows, your lands matchups, Ruby Storm, so on and so forth. But, you know, Strip Mine against like a blue-red tempo deck, that just helps fills their graveyard for the treasure cruise that they're inevitably going to deploy. Or Strip Mine is going to get pithing needled by Petrified Hamlet against Eldrazi, so you might as well value them out with Library of Alexandria and try to go under them. So that's one of the biggest changes that has come to the deck since Secrets of Strixhaven. It's a pretty big one. It definitely changes the way you pilot the deck in a lot of given situations. And to navigate this, we're going to be following, once again, Kurei's sideboard guide that's recently been published on MetaConfluence, where he digs into the different matchups that Mardu Energy can run into and provide some insight, not just on the sideboarding plan, but just the general sort of Strip Mine library rotation heuristics. Other than that, looking at the sideboard, we of course have Lurrus as our companion, and we also have Static Prison, Lithomantic Barrage, and Prismatic Ending as more removal options. We're main decking 8 sort of like true pieces of removal, and there's 6 other options available to us in the sideboard given our matchup, and we're also sideboarding 4 Thoughtseizes as well for those combo matchups where that's going to be really helpful. Interestingly enough, there's no graveyard hate in this deck, so no Fairy Macabre, no Ghost Vacuum, no surgical extraction, anything like that. So we're looking to beat Reanimator's entombing abilities or things like that before it hits the stack. There's also no Voice of Victory or Hexing Squelcher to give ourselves protection on our turn or to prevent our spells from being countered. I think that was an iteration that we saw early on in the Secrets of Strixhaven metagame with Mardu Energy that Corey has subbed out for a more dedicated focus to just removing your opponent's threats from their hand, from the board, and just smashing in with the tried and true Mardu Energy game plan. So it's by far one of the most streamlined energy sideboards I've seen during its almost 2-year presence in the Timeless metagame. So with all that being said, let's give Mardu Energy a spin and hop into some games. All right, we are on the play with a no-lander. We got to chuck this. All right, Guide of Souls, 2 of them. Swords to Plowshares. Goblin Bombardment doesn't really do anything for us right now, but I think we'll keep this. And, our opponent isn't on a companion of any kind, so we don't have any pre-game information. I think I'll put back the Strip Mine here just to have both our colors, and I could put back the second Guide of Souls, or, you know, I could put back the Goblin Bombardment just because it's not doing anything right now, but it's so good once you land a Johnny or even an Ocelot Pride. I think I've talked myself into the Goblin Bombardment, as sad as that is. I think having the Strip Mine available to us will be pretty helpful. At the very least, we have a guaranteed 3 lands. We could put Lurrus into our hand on turn 3 if we don't end up doing anything else. We got a Scalding Tarn from our opponent, Shocking and Esteem Vents, and a Chain Lightning for our Guide of Souls. Well, and there's our Goblin Bombardment. That's fantastic. Well, let's see. I think we can go ahead and Strip Mine our opponent here. They're probably on some blue-red tempo, so we may have just filled their graveyard for an inevitable treasure cruise. There's their own Strip Mine. Maybe they'll go ahead and get rid of our Sacred Foundry. That's fine. We'll go ahead and play out our Marsh Flats and Surveil at the end of the turn. And smash in for 1. Polluted Delta getting cracked. They're making their land drops. They're taking damage. They really can't stand our Guide of Souls. They've got to go. All right. Well, they're already at 6 cards in the graveyard, so if they have a treasure cruise coming up here, that would be pretty devastating. But we're gonna pick up this Godless Shrine, not Surveil it over, so that we can drop down our Juggernaut Peddler, which they may go as far as to daze, or, yep, they're going to daze it. Would have really preferred a Force of Will, but, hey, they're at 11 life right now. I'll take that. They haven't deployed a threat yet. This deck is going to be running Hydroponics Architects, or Dragon's Rage Channelers, or Quarry Steel Cutters as well. We saw them pop off the Treasure Cruise, which is a bummer, but we did draw our 3rd land, so we can go ahead and put Lurrus into our hand now. I'm a little concerned that he might get countered here. So we might play Swords to Plowshares and then Goblin Bombardment. Or we can play around Daze, Swords, and Galvanic Discharge. And then wait until next turn to maybe play a Lurrus, maybe play out our Goblin Bombardment. I think at this point, with them at 9 and us at 15, it's just smart to play around Daze. Would love to draw a Orcish Bowmaster. really slow down their card draw. Cracking a Scalding Tarn. Getting a Thundering Falls. They are deep into their deck. 39 cards. And another Brainstorm from them. I think we don't want to see another Strip Mine. I mean, it's fine for us in terms of playing our spells out, but we don't want to strip them while they're at 3 cards here. Well, we could play out the Guide of Souls, or, well, we can get all of our spells back with Lurrus. Why don't we Guide of Souls first? Yeah. Chill out, opponent. Are you going to force this? Hell yeah. Go ahead and force it. You know, one of the nice things about the Is It Tempo matchup is that they don't have exile-based removal. So, you know, they just spent 4 cards trying to get rid of 2 of our cards that we're going to be able to play back out with a Lurrus. Now, maybe they did that just because they have another Treasure Cruise on deck. But, yep. I shouldn't say these things. I just make them happen. But, you know, this helps pave the way for our Lurrus. Okay. We're in the position of privilege here. I think we just swords the Dragon's Rage. They've already played 2 of their forces. They want to keep cracking fetches and doing stuff. That's fine by me, but we can wait to play out this Lurrus. The Strip Mine is disappointing. I will admit that. If they draw into more of their Strip Mines, that would be a real bummer. Okay. Do I be ballsy and just jam? They played 1 daze. They've played 1 daze. And it's possible that that is what's in the 2 cards in their hand. I'm torn here between, you know, just waiting to get Strip Mined again, or to start just getting some Lurrus value. I think the tricky thing is that, like, okay, even if they don't have Lurrus, even if they don't have Daze, right? They probably have Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt. Even an Unholy Heat gets rid of Lurrus. So him sticking around a turn and not doing anything, I don't feel great about passing with him without playing at least 1 creature out of our graveyard, right? Looks like they might be going for another Treasure Cruise. So I'm playing scared here. I'm playing really conservative. I don't know if that's going to be in our favor. Because we're allowing them to resolve their 3rd Treasure Cruise here. Well, we just drew an Amped Raptor, playing around Daze. If they want to, you know, throw out their, 3rd Force of Will, they're more than welcome to. We'll pay for the Daze, and will they double Daze us? I mean, that would be lovely. Go right ahead. Man, okay. Counting Dazes, they've played 3 Dazes. They've played 2 Force of Wills. Here comes another Dragon's Rage. All right, well, we just keep top-decking our answers here. That Snap resolved, and that's just about the best card we could have drawn. They have to spend a Bolt on this. They have to do something about it. And we start clearing the way for Lurrus here. So they'll swing in with their Quarry Steel Cutter. They finally have a threat. We're not going to block. It does not matter right now. And sure, I'll play an Amped Raptor. That sounds great. Well, folks, our opponent Shogun Creel absolutely cannot believe our Amped Raptor. They've ticked down from 3 bars of timer. We're closing in on the 0 now. They just couldn't hate this Amped Raptor anymore. It's an absolute salt rope situation. All right. Can I please play my Amped Raptor gang? Swords to plowshares. I'm going to decline. We don't need that. I don't need to give him extra life with the Cory. Well, folks, since it looks like our opponent is salting off here, this game is probably going to wrap up in just a moment. But, you know, this is a good example of how strong Mardu energy is. You know, I apologize profusely to our opponent. I'm so sorry that your legacy deck didn't have the legs that you wanted it to in Timeless, but I won't lie, we were pretty lucky on our draws, especially in that last sequence with getting Amped Raptor into Orcish Bowmasters, into Amped Raptor, but this is Mardu energy, baby. We just have such strong threats. You fucking you can treasure cruise to your heart's content. Treasure cruise 3 times, 2 force of wills, 3 dazes, and we still find a way, right? It's pretty unreal. All right, we are on the draw against a fellow Lurrus deck. We've got Swords to Plowshares, Galvanic Discharge, Amped Raptor, Goblin Bombardment, and a Strip Mine, as well as 2 lands. Lurrus signals to us that we will be against another sort of creature fair value type matchup. Makes me feel good about having swords and a Galvanic. Hopefully we cascade into something solid with Amped Raptor and maybe go to town with our Goblin Bombardment. I think this is a solid keep. We've got the Strip Mine available too, in case we want to mess with their mana at all. They play a Watery Graves and a Thoughtseize, so it is not the mirror. They got something else in mind. Well, we just drew the double natty strip. I think since they haven't deployed any threats yet, let's just reset the game back to turn 1. And if they hit us again, no, they don't. We'll go ahead and play the Arid Mesa. And, yeah, I think I'll play out the Ocelot Pride. Why not? If it eats a push, so be it. It might be better than getting whatever we rip off our Amped Raptor pushed. They don't elect to interact with it before the end of our turn. They go Undercity Sewers. And they pass. Fascinating. That is reading as Bowmasters to me. So we can go ahead and deploy our Strip Mine. Or we can attack with the Ocelot Pride first. Let's Ocelot Pride. They're gonna Bowmasters. Yep. We'll Strip Mine their Undercity Sewers. And they'll hit our Ocelot Pride. The worst thing about Orcish Bowmasters to us is its ETB trigger. We're not super concerned with like letting it stick around, so I don't necessarily want to throw a Swords or a Galvanic Discharge onto that Orcish Bowmaster right now. You know, we're not running our Libraries of Alexandria. I want to save this for a Hydroponics. I want to save it for a Tamiyo, a Psychic Frog, that sort of thing. All right. Go to our turn. Ooh, we draw a Ragavan. That's kind of tempting to dash, but I think what we'll do is I think we'll play out an Amped Raptor here and just see what we get. There's an argument to Juggernaut Peddler. We could maybe get a like a Psychic Frog or something like that out of their hand, but you know what? I've talked myself into the Juggernaut Peddler. That sounds good. They might daze it. They might force of will it. And I'd be happier with that, yeah, than getting the Amped Raptor Force of Will, because that's a 2 for 2 rather than a 2 for 1. Interesting. 2 Undercity Sewers from our opponent. And there's our Psychic Frog friend. So, we will go ahead and Swords that immediately. We have another Swords on backup if they happen to Force of Will it. And, yeah, I think we'll play out our Ragavan. They can daze it if they want. But now they're incentivized to, like, keep their Orcish Bowmasters back. Or remove our Ragavan, which is also fair. Alright. We take another 2 from the OBMs. Let's play our Amped Raptor. We get to play around Daze, which is lovely. And it gets Force of Willed. Alright, that's fine. Again, Dimir Tempo is not exiling our creatures here. So, we are fucking chilling in terms of being able to play our stuff back out of the graveyard, right? We've gotten rid of their Psychic Frog. They've gotten rid of their Tamiyo by exiling it with Force of Will. And while things are looking a little spooky here, we're going to be able to play a Lurrus next turn. Now, I do think we have to worry about this. If we put Lurrus to hand, we die to an Orcish Bowmaster. But if we draw this Strip Mine, we get valuable information about what we can do here, right? Because they'll play the Orcish Bowmaster right now if they have it. They do not. So it's risky, but I think we are in the clear to put the Lurrus into our hand. Because even if they went land OBM, they wouldn't be able to kill us in time. The 4th land drop, or the 4th land is impeccable here. What we're going to be able to do is Lurrus and then play out our Ocelot Pride to have a blocker. They whiffed on a land drop. So now we have the blocking that we need and the life gain that we need to make sure that they don't attack into us. Psychic Frog, hey, you bet. We're going to just Swords that immediately. And I think what we'll do is we'll play out the Strip Mine. And we'll take him off. Do we take him off Island or Swamp here? Well, we don't have to make the choice because they scoop. Was that our 4th strip? Let me just double check that. Oh my god. We hit the quad strip that game, folks. Unbelievable. Alright, so we didn't get a good idea of how aggro their deck is, right? Like, the only creatures we saw were... Well, we did see Tamiyo, Psychic Frog, and Orcish Bowmasters, so there's a chance that they're not playing as sort of, like, quick of a game with Hydroponics Architect. So, with that in mind, plus us being on the draw, I think we're going to board the Library of Alexandria's in and play with that. And following Correa's sideboard guide, we're also going to trim our Ragavans and a Juggernaut Peddler to put in a Lithomantic Barrage. This can sometimes fully get rid of a Psychic Frog if they don't have enough cards in hand. This gets rid of Orcish Bowmasters. This gets rid of Hydro Homie, Tamiyo, anything like that very cleanly. Can't be countered. We're going to trim the 2 Static Prisons, and we're going to also put in 3 Prismatic Endings, given that they are on a Lurrus plan, and Prismatic Ending is just the cleaner removal option for us. So we've got ourselves, let's see, 11 removal spells here. Let's rip it. It's a library hand. 3 other lands, Ocelot Pride, Prismatic Ending, a Johnny. Let's see what kind of damage we can do, folks. Obviously, there's a high chance that they'll if they have the opportunity to, they will just go ahead and strip mine our library. But at least we can get one card off of it here. And we have plenty of other lands to back ourselves up with. They play a hydroponics for turn 1, but next turn we can... Oops, excuse me. We can discharge it. We can prismatic ending it. We can do all sorts of things to get rid of it. They're going to brainstorm. Are they looking for a fetch land, perhaps? It surprises me that they would brainstorm before fetching. All right. The library dream has ended. But we're up a card. And what we can do is we can Sacred Foundry. We can... I think we'll just go ahead and prismatic ending this. Actually, we'll save that for the Psychic Frog. And next turn, we can Guide and Pride. If they don't have the double natty strip, that is. No, they don't. Thank goodness. They will draw a card off of the Hydroponics Architect trigger. And unfortunately, they'll get a blue island strip mine that draws them a card. What a shame. And another Hydroponics Architect. That's a bummer. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and prismatic ending this one. Make sure they don't get any more value off of the Hydro. Next turn, we could either Guide and Pride. We could Juggernaut Peddler, depending on what they play. This is, again, looking like a Bowmaster situation. I think I'm going to Juggernaut Peddler here, because they might just play out the Orcish Bowmasters. That'll be fine. I want to get, like, a Psychic Frog if I can. Ooh, okay. So they have Orcish Bowmasters and 2 other lands and a Ponder, but they also have a board wipe. So we'll get rid of the Path to Peril expeditiously. And then next turn, we could Guide in a Johnny. We could Guide in Pride. We could do all sorts of things. I think I like Guide in a Johnny if we don't get strip mined here. Okay, they drew a Brainstorm. They're going to take a look at getting rid of some of their other spells. Maybe they try to shuffle the Juggernaut into the deck. Ooh, we drew a library, but that's not going to help us play our spells. Maybe we can dream of getting back up to library mana at some point this game, but not right now. We need double white to be able to Guide into a Johnny. Nice thing about this Ajani is that even if we do get Daze, which we don't, thank goodness, we have one on backup. So I think this is an obvious, take the Juggernaut Peddler trigger, make a 4/4 Flying Vigilance, start pounding them. Yeah, if they get the board wipe, that's pretty sad, but maybe we'll play out our library next turn and just put Lurrus into hand. Interesting. They mill the Psychic Frog over. What's your gambit there, opponent? That seems like it would be a very good card. I think they are going to want to be looking for a board wipe here. A Toxic Deluge, a Path to Peril. Okay, the best they can do is push our Guide of Souls. Well, we just happened to draw another one. This is 7 damage. Can we get to 10 somehow? I don't think so. I'm tempted to play this Pride out. Or this Guide out. But, yeah, I just don't know. I think we'll attack and then, they probably still have the Bowmasters in hand. Oh, no, they're going to get rid of the Juggernaut. Okay. All right. Well, I think we put Lurrus into hand here. Lurrus dodges that Path of Peril, which is good. Maybe we sweeten the pot for them by throwing a Guide of Souls out there. Would that kill next turn? If we did Luris, Ocelot Pride, probably not. We really need a red permanent so that when we flip a Johnny, we can just bolt their face. I'll play the Guide out. Fuck it. Okay, they strip mine. And they got a Tameo. Can they flip the Tameo this turn? Alright, they're just dumping their creatures onto the board. Okay, well, Amped Raptor is a phenomenal draw. Let's start by playing that. If they have a Daze or whatever, it doesn't do dick. Can we? Oh, yes, we can. Okay. Do we remove? I think we remove the cat so that we can set up an Ajani big bolt turn. Obviously, it doesn't end up mattering. We got the dub, but, you know, I think we remove the cat instead of trying to remove Tameo or Psychic Frog, right? Like, this is one of these situations where Lithomantic Barrage is fantastic against Psychic Frog. It can't discard enough cards to beef itself up beyond 5 toughness. So, yeah, I mean, we just totally had it in the bag there. But kind of an interesting question. Okay, we're on the play against another Luris deck. You betcha. I think this is too many lands for us to keep. Our opponent's also on a mull. Let's mull this. Oof. Oh, no. That's not good. All right. We'll make something happen out of this. I think it's going to be Ragavan, Amped Raptor, Ajani. Or maybe Static Prison, Ajani, Amped Raptor. We'll put back the Swamp. I think we, yeah, I think we go Ragavan over the Static Prison here. Ragavan asks for pretty instant removal, which would help out our Ajani and whatever we get off of our Amped Raptor. It's possible we'll get removal off of our Amped Raptor if the Ragavan somehow happens to resolve and stick around. That's great. Top decking another land is also really solid. We'll play the Ragavan, and I imagine that they will remove it swiftly here. Oh no, they're going to go for an Elegant Parlor. Perhaps this is the mirror. Perhaps we got a little mirror match going on. Yep, Orcish Bowmasters to get rid of our Ragavan, sure. All right, well, we drew the card that we wanted to get off of our Arid Mesa, but that should be okay. Let's go ahead and Godless Shrine and then play out our Amped Raptor. We could Elegant Parlor Ajani next turn. Guide of Souls is really solid. We could jump the Amped Raptor if we if it doesn't get removed here, but we're gonna get peddled. We'll lose out on our Ajani, which is a shame. And they get their third land drop. They're going to play out a Ragavan of their own. All right. Well, that won't do too much against our Amped Raptor, but we just top-decked a Juggernaut Peddler. So let's Elegant Parlor first. Guide of Souls? I think I'll keep that. And then let's do a Juggernaut Peddler. We gain a life. Oh, and we can get rid of an Ajani. They'll be able to play the Juggernaut Peddler next turn because this card that didn't get flipped is a land. But we could do a Jug versus Jug headbutting match. Ooh. Okay, they got the Orcish Bowmasters for our Amped Raptor. That's too bad. So now we have to answer the Ragavan with our Juggernaut Peddler. Damn. All right, well, our top deck Guide of Souls doesn't look so great now, but what we can do is we can Guide of Souls, fetch a Plains, and then put Luris to hand. We've also got 3 energy, so we get to jump the Guide now. That's pretty nice. Yeah, let's put Luris to hand. We'll jump our Guide. Can't really race them here, but as long as they don't get removal, we should be okay. Okay, they're going to swing for 4. That's fine. We also got the more handsome graveyard compared to them, so if they put Luris into hand, I think we should be okay. All right, they're swinging with all of their stuff. I think with the knowledge that they just get back Orcish Bowmasters from their graveyard, if I block with the Guide of Souls, I think I let that go rather than giving them the option of removal. That's smart that they're swinging with that, knowing that it's basically 2 free damage, but you know what? We're going to drop a Luris. We got a Blood Crypt, which is absolutely huge. And we can Amped Raptor here. Just getting a little bit of energy. There's an argument that maybe we should have done Ragavan so that we can jump Ragavan and swing with him next turn. But I think this is the most expedient route to victory. If they don't have any removal here, they are toast. They got to swing with everything. Okay, so we're taking 9 here if we block one of the 2/2s. So we're going to block the Bowmaster with Luris, and we'll block the Juggernaut Peddler. No, we'll get rid of the Bowmaster token with Amped Raptor. So that's 8 damage coming through. Not great if they randomly have a Bowmaster, but those will just be tough beats if that's the case. We go to 1. Oh, sorry, we go to 4. And then they play Luris. No, they scoop. All right. Took game 1 off of the mirror. Let's take a look at the sideboard guide. Since we will be back on the draw, we're going to remove our strip mines and play our Library of Alexandria game. We're also going to trim 2 Peddlers and 2 Ragavans to soup up on 3 Prismatic Endings and 1 Static Prison. So we're going whole hog. We have 12 removal spells, not including Orcish Bowmasters, which can get rid of rival Ocelot Prides, Amped Raptors. If they are running Ragavan for some reason, we can get rid of their Ragavan. But the idea here being, hopefully we can grind them out with library value. I've found that being on the draw in a Mardu mirror is pretty tough because you really do have to be very judgmental about when to be drawing off of library versus deploying creatures, because I've certainly lost some games where I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll just keep drawing off of library, and they just get so ahead on board, and the corner can get turned so quickly with Mardu that you've really got to be careful. But hopefully we'll start with like a nice slow library start and take them down that way. Okay, no library, but virtually a perfect hand. We've got Ocelot Pride or removal for their turn 1 play. We've got an Amped Raptor and an Ajani. I think this is an instant keep. It's kind of a dream library deal. Okay, they play Guide of Souls. I think that warrants instant removal. And if they happen to go Guide Pride, we are going to give them a token if we end up swordsing them on their turn. So do we want to give them the token potentially, or, you know, go shields down into their turn 2 where they could dash a Ragavan potentially? I think I'm less worried about giving them 1 token, and we'll pass. All right, they go to attacks. We'll let the 1 come through, even though we may just end up swordsing it. They could go a Johnny here. They could go Juggernaut Peddler, but they've elected to pass with an Elegant Parlor. So, okay. We could play it slow, too. We could go get our Elegant Parlor, try to find a 3rd land drop. Maybe that's smoked, but I kind of don't hate it. Yeah. Grab ourselves a Sacred Foundry? Sure. Arid Mesa. We could play out an Ocelot Pride. Let it eat some removal. Hope to resolve a Johnny, Amped Raptor, Orcish Bowmaster. Yeah. I think we put a little pressure on him by dropping a Pride. And we'll pass. We can crack Arid Mesa for Godless Shrine. Hit him with the Swords to Plowshares next turn. Alright, they go for a Johnny. We're going to Swords here, so that they don't get the life gain off of the Guide of Souls. The Johnny's going to be a problem. One of the things about these Mardu mirrors is that it's kind of a game of who can resolve the Goblin Bombardment first. So, with that in mind, let's play out a Sacred Foundry, and let's play our Amped Raptor. Hopefully we can run into some exile-based removal with Amped Raptor. Okay, we get a Guide of Souls. That's fine. And do we want to go ahead and Sacred Foundry, sorry, Static Prison the Ajani now or later? I think we do it now just in case they happen to have the Goblin Bombardment right in hand. So we'll Static Prison Ajani. Really not the best removal for Ajani, given that they can just Static Prison our Static Prison. Oh, are they gonna... Ah, they're gonna flip their token right now so that Ajani... They're gonna kill their token so that Ajani flips right now. And we lose out on our Sacred Foundry trigger, which is a bummer. But it doesn't look like they have the red source. They're probably going to drop a Bowmasters here. Or, sorry, they're probably going to put Luris to hand. What we want to do on our turn is play the Bowmasters and swing in, getting rid of their Ajani as quickly as possible. Okay, interesting. They Lithomantic Barrage our Guide of Souls. What we can do is we can Sacred Foundry. We can Orcish Bowmasters their creature token and swing for 2. Maybe we get hit by Orcish Bowmasters here. I love that we drew a Juggernaut Peddler because they'll put Luris into hand next turn, most likely, and then we can just snatch it right out of their hand. Do you have the removal? Okay, you're going to Swords the Ajani. I'm okay with that. We've got Guide of Souls and Static Prison in our graveyard for when we fetch our Luris. But it kind of looks like we're maybe winning the game here. Okay, an Ocelot Pride is problematic, but not the end of the world. And, ooh, Amped Raptor into Juggernaut Peddler. That sounds great. Another Ajani? Hey, I'll take it. Sounds good.
I will prove my worth to my pride.
All right, we snatch your Luris. And then, since they've zeroed Ajani, we could swing with 1, 2, 3. They could trade Ocelot Pride with Amped Raptor and Cat Warrior with Orc Army, but that would also flip the Ajani. So, maybe we give them Sophie's choice of... I mean, they have to let this through. There's just no way they don't. But this way, we can also clear their board. Right. We'll just bounce off of the Orc Army. That makes sense. All right. Another dub in the bag. Feels pretty good. Didn't get to see a Library of Alexandria that match, but man, that Juggernaut Peddler came right on time. All right. Those matches have gone so quick. I think we have time for one more. We're on the play. Another Dreamburger. Guide of Souls. Amped Raptor, Orcish Bowmaster, Goblin Bombardment. I mean, it would be great to have the Guide Pride combo for turn 2 where we strip them and then just drop the Pride, but this is another keep. Another easy keep. We Godless Shrine, Guide of Souls, depending on what they're up to, what we can read from their turn 1, we either strip mine them or play up Bowmaster, play out Amped Raptor. They're not on any companion. We've played quite a bit of Lurrus today. I would love to see a combo matchup. Okay, Breeding Pool tapped. Now that is fascinating. Ajani, unbelievable. The Breeding Pool tapped is an interesting sign of, I don't know, not necessarily weakness, but like what the heck is going on there? Let's play out the Orcish Bowmaster. I think we read that they're a blue deck, and this will start punishing their Brainstorms, their Ponders, any cantripping. Delver. Is this a Temur Delver type beat? Steam Vents. Okay. You're going to get rid of our Guide of Souls. That's fine by me. What we can do is we can strip mine. Let's get rid of the Steam Vents because that's the most likely card to mess with our board. We don't like our red removal. I think we drop the Goblin Bombardment and hit their Delver with the Orc Army. Just clear the way. Yeah, I like that too. That's good shit, ain't it? That way, next turn, we can drop an Ajani or an Amped Raptor. Whatever we choose. Another Breeding Pool tapped. All right. Another land is really solid. Let's go ahead and attack. Well, let's play Ajani. He resolves instantly. We love that. Let's just start beating their ass. Oh, yeah. It's pretty nice, opponent. All right. GG's. GG's. Have you had enough? Temur shenanigans. Here's a Steam Vents. They could bolt our Ajani. Yep, that is that's understandable. We do swing for 3 damage this turn. They drop another Delver. It's fine. Let's Elegant Parlor. I'm not sweating this Delver too much. Yeah, I don't think we need a Static Prison for it. We can just Amped Raptor into something, Swords to Plowshares if we absolutely need to. All right. We cascade into a Swords. Sounds good. All right. 3 damage. We can light up our board and deal 3 at them whenever we want. Wary Zone Guard. All right. Well, they look like they're on some kind of Temur land destruction type deal. Temur Midrange. I'm glad to see that. But we're going to swing for the kill here. We're going to drop the Johnny just for some flavor. And go to game 2. So Temur Midrange is not a tiered deck right now. I don't think it's going to be showing up in Kuray's sideboard guide for Mardu Energy, but what we can kind of go off of here is the notion that they are likely going to be on like blue-black, blue-red tempo style game plan, where we are going to want to get rid of their creatures, especially something like Wary Zone Guard, before it can start looping strip mines. So I think what I'd like to put in the deck, I'd like to take the strip mines out and put the Library of Alexandrias in. We're not looking to fight a strip mine game with them. We could consider the prismatic endings, but what I'd also like to see is Static Prison to get rid of some of their bigger threats, and maybe even a Thoughtseize, given that the like Wary Zone Guard, maybe a Renin 6 sort of thing runs on like a combo style vector. So I would maybe consider 2 Thoughtseize, and I guess, would we trim 2 Ragavan? I think maybe. And then maybe 1 Juggernaut Peddler, just so we have some like turn 1 discard available to us. I might be smoking, but let's just run it like this. Okay, we got ourselves a library hand. Plenty of lands. Juggernaut Peddler, that'll probably come down turn 3, but yeah, they're not going to be applying nearly enough pressure early on. You know, they've got their Delver, of course. Maybe they're doing a Dragon's Rage Channeler type thing, but I think we just want to draw some cards and get ahead on card advantage while we can. Okay, strip mine for the library, that's fine. And they're holding up their Scalding Tarn. Okay, we've drawn enough lands, but maybe this will be good if we end up getting temporarily strip locked. Let's go ahead and fetch. Ooh, they are playing Stifle. This is going to get stifled. Yep, that's fine. Damn, we have to discard a card. All right, I think we get rid of... We could get rid of a land, but we could also get rid of a Juggernaut Peddler. I don't know. We're so far off from casting one of those. Land or Peddler? I think maybe the land. We want some threats. We want to end this game sometime. Oh my goodness. A 1-lander. You don't say, opponent. You don't say. Another Stifle? Okay. Stifle Gaming. Renin 6? Okay, now we're getting strip locked. Not great. How do we get out of this? I think we have to draw a Static Prison. Oh, they drew the Scalding Tarn. That's fascinating. Is it because you're planning to drop a Wary Zone Guard next turn? Okay, these Stifles kind of beat our ass. Do we Thoughtseize here, or do we Guide of Souls? I think we Thoughtseize, just because it's quite likely that they have something good. Okay. They don't have the Wary Zone Guard. They have a Delver, they have a Relic, and they have a Pithing Needle. I don't know why... Oh, maybe their the Pithing Needle is on Goblin Bombardment or Johnny or something. I think I'm most worried about the Brainstorm. They can, like, shuffle cards into their deck with the Scalding Tarn. Yeah, they're going to strip lock us. We're in pretty big trouble unless we draw something here soon. Okay, they got their spell. They're going to ponder. They'll play their Delver. Sure. All right, we draw land. We get to play our Guide of Souls. That's good. Doesn't do too much. They've also probably lined the Delver up so that, yeah, they get to remove our Guide and flip their Delver. They bring the Strip Mine back. This is probably a lock. I don't think that there's a way we get out of this. We can see what we draw next turn, but it's looking pretty bad here, folks. Play out a relic. That's smart. Okay, we drew a land, but not the one we need. We could play Marsh Flats and pass with it up. I mean, yeah, we could just let this game play out a little longer. I don't think there are outs left in our deck. They can also force us to crack the Marsh Flats by playing out the Pithing Needle. We're also dying. We got a 2-turn clock left with our Insectile Aberration. Yeah, you Pithing Needle. I mean, we could surveil here, but this is just gonna get removed. Yeah, you know what? We're scooping this one. They could Wrenn and 6 ping us so that we die next turn. It's just GG. Okay. Now that we're on the play, we could go up on more discard. I think it's correct to get rid of the Ragavans. I think we want to include Orcish Bowmasters. I don't want to trim a Goblin Bombardment, but maybe that's what we do to get another Thoughtseize in the deck. Yeah. And then that way we have 9 sources of removal, 6 sources of discard. I think we board the Strip Mines back in. Those Stifles really... they really fucked us up. Yeah, I think we're going to run it like this. Okay, we lead with a Thoughtseize, and then we can Orcish Bowmasters or Ocelot Pride, a Johnny, do whatever. I think this is solid. They kept the hand of 7. Not what we'd like to see, but not the end of the day either. All right, well, they've got the triple natty strip. That is disgusting. That's disgusting. I think we've got to get rid of Wary Zone Guard here. There's an argument we get rid of Chain Lightning. If they give us a turn off and they play out Hydroponics, we can land a Bowmaster. That seems pretty good, but we've got to get rid of Wary Zone Guard. Just because the strip loop would be so easy. They could start looping Misty Rainforest, all that shit. This is a really good keep from them, though. That's some gas. Yeah, and they go strip Godless Shrine. I think that's a good play. Well, we are going to answer with our Ocelot Pride. And if they want to Chain Lightning it next turn, they can go right ahead, because we'll drop another one. They don't. Wow. I think that's smart too. I think it's like, fuck your lands until you're dead. Don't have dick in terms of lands. Yeah, they get to remove the Ocelot Pride here. Oh no, they're going to go for Hydroponics. That's smart, because that... Hydroponics is a good blocker for Ocelot Pride. All right, opponent, well played. I'm in big trouble until I draw 2 lands here. Actually, 3 lands, because I have to fight through your 3rd Strip Mine. Fuck. All right, well... feel a bit silly with the Strip Mines now, but... we can keep that around. If they strip mine the strip mine, we can obviously strip one of their lands in response. But if we get a fetch, we can drop a Bowmaster. You know? Polluted Delta, sure. Yeah, I think this game is practically in the bag for them. But we could play it out a little further. They are taking a lot of damage. Ah, the Wrenn and 6. Yeah, I think we are fucked, because they can just recur Polluted Delta with the Ren and 6. Just draw a bajillion cards. Drown me in card advantage. Deploy their strip mines whenever they please. Oh, interesting. You don't play out the hydroponics, huh? All right. Well, yeah, I mean, we could wait until we get some lands here, but I think Ren and 6 is pretty much a lock. We could Static Prison it, but I don't know. I just don't think that there's any way to meaningfully interact with this deck at this point. Yeah, they Wary Zone Guard. They start looping the Polluted Deltas and the Strip Mines. They start beating in for 4, then 5, and we have our 1 blocker. I mean, yeah, once again, we could look for a white source, but I think we're just going to get beaten to a pulp before that happens. Temur Land Destruction. You know, this is the deck that I first... this was the first video that I posted post Secrets of Strixhaven. I don't think you want to be running Delver of Secrets, but man, this is a pretty good deck. It's a pretty fucking good deck. All right, at this point, with 2 different recursion sources for a strip mine, I'm going to concede this game. Well played, opponent. This is, I think this is a deck that, you know, now that the metagame is smoothed out a little bit, we might have to come back and consider this one. All right, folks, 3-1, solid record with Mardu Energy. We defeated 3 different tiered decks and lost our only game to a rogue fucking Canadian. Very cool, very cool. I think there's more that could be said about this deck if we got to see the Library of Alexandrias really pop off in our matches. You know, they do end up being pretty heavy strip mine magnets against our opponents, but we drew a couple cards here and there with the Library of Alexandrias. We didn't see any combo or unfair matchups during our games. I mean, aside from land destruction, if you consider that unfair. So we didn't see how the 4 of Thoughtseizes work super well. It would have been cool to play against Reanimator or Sneak and Show to see how the 4 Thoughtseize 1 Static Prison plan works in that sort of matchup. You know, I've said it many times on the channel before, but one of the things I think makes Mardu Energy so strong in the metagame today is that Timeless is a shock land format. So if you're playing more than 1 color, you're having to shock in your lands on a very regular basis. You're taking damage, and most other decks in the metagame, unless they're running like a Deathrite Shaman or something like that, they don't have any main deck life gain available to them. So not only are we applying pressure, but we're keeping our life totals buoyed by Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride. It's really quite remarkable. You know, part of the reason I didn't scoop some of those matches with the Canadian deck is because they're having to shock all their lands and they're going to 8 life pretty quick. You know, if I think it was pretty cope, especially in a match where they start with 3 strip mines, but there's a dream of, you know, just drawing the right Guide, Pride combo, and you know, you let that snowball and suddenly you have 3/3, 3/4 life linkers in the air attacking you. If you don't have the life gain to get that back, you're going to lose the game. Well, folks, thanks for sticking around for another Mardu Energy set of matches here. This one's going to get posted on the YouTube channel the day before Marvel Superheroes comes out. I think the next Timeless video we're going to be doing is Mono Red Stompy with that new Daredevil card that showed up in our Timeless set review from last week. So look forward to that. I'm going to look forward to playing those matches. We've got some more Arena Powered Cube as well coming up on the channel. Hope you enjoy those, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.